Let's go to my next guest now, Lord Mackinlay. Craig Mackinlay was, of course, a Tory MP, now a Conservative peer, and joins us right now. Good afternoon to you.
Hello, Julia. Good to be back.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. Just your reaction, actually, to the decision that the UK announced today. They're going to give back or give sovereignty to Mauritius of the Chagos Islands, despite the fact, of course, we've got the massive big US and partly used by the UK as well military base at Diego Garcia there. What do you make of that? Do you share the concerns that Jules just expressed?
Absolutely share the concerns. It seems completely unintelligible. I mean, Mauritius has got no great need for Diego Garcia and the Chagos Islands, but we certainly do in the West. It is a fundamental part of that Pacific, monitoring and everything else. So, Indian Ocean monitoring that is fundamental to our security. And we are living in a very uncertain world. We've got China is becoming increasingly aggressive. You've got obviously the, what Russia has done in Ukraine. I would have thought this is the last time that you will be giving up useful sovereign bases in a very uncertain world.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see no reason for it. And what gets worse, Julia, I understand we're going to give Mauritius some money on the back of it.
Of course we are. Of course we are. I mean, maybe we could give Mauritius some tickets to some Taylor Swift concerts and a free suit. I mean, that seems to be the way we do business these days. Let me get you back to British politics. Do you think that Keir Starmer has done the right thing, paying back £6,000 worth of 6 free tickets to Taylor Swift, and ending, and some paying back some money for going to racing, and indeed some rental loan deal with a designer for his wife Victoria's clothes. At the same time, not handing back money for all those seats in the director's box at the Emirates to watch the Arsenal, and keeping all the suits and the glasses given by Labour donor Lord Wahid Ali. Do you think he's drawn a line under this, or has he made things worse?
I can't imagine who is advising Sir Keir on this. I really can't. He's paying back 5.5% of the value that he's received in freebies. He has now ditched all of his, his friends and colleagues on his cabinet into the mire, because they'll now be thinking, oh, have I got to pay back my Ibiza fun party, dear Angela Rayner, and other freebies that the others have received? They must be going, well, thanks very much. You've now stitched us up. It doesn't make his story any better by paying back a little bit. It doesn't make it any better or any worse. So you think, well, why bother, frankly?
Yeah. It's just put it back on the front, but it's just put it back on the front pages of the newspapers.
Yeah, completely. I think he was, I'm being charitable here, just about starting to go into page 2, 3, 4 and 5 of the newspapers. It's now back on page 1. Why bother? Rather silly. And dear Angela Rayner must be very, very annoyed with him, because she'll be having to pay back £836 rave DJ booth in Ibiza. Yeah. I'm sorry, Angela. I think you're getting a little bit old for those sort of phone parties in Ibiza. But that's getting a little bitchy, isn't it?
Meow, meow. Never too old for that stuff. I've bumped into Angela Rayner.
I gave up Ibiza rave parties a long time ago.
I tell you what, though, I'd have paid good money to have seen that, Craig, I have to say. Let me talk to you also about civil servants. Civil servants working at the Office for National Statistics. People give us those stats on unemployment rates and things like that, growing the economy and the like every week, seemingly. They have basically threatened to go out on all-out strike over a requirement for them to come back to the office. They're not even asked to go back into the office full-time, not 5 days a week, not even 4 days a week, not even 3 days a week. Could they just pop in a couple of days of the week, show their faces? No, they've said, we are going to go out on strike. They're already working to rule. What do you make of that?
Well, I can't believe that the civil service bosses, the permanent secretaries, aren't saying, well, hold on, wherein is your contract that says you can work at home?
Yes,
this was a temporary measure.
Exactly. This is my thing. I've never had a job where I could just choose where I wanted to be.
Well, exactly. I mean, you and I were on exactly the same page during the COVID time. They should have been at work most of the time then as well. We shouldn't have been down this mad lockdown procedure. But anyway, that's the stuff. I lied to the office, and I pretended that my broadband was going down. I said, it's going to go down on Monday. I won't be able to work from home on Monday. But what is mad is it's obvious that productivity within the civil service is poor. It has not improved. You've had an increase in productivity in the private sector. In the public sector, it has stayed exactly static. We've got more people working in the civil service than we used to have. We've got hundreds of thousands more since the COVID period. We're spending more on the civil service and we're not getting the output for it.
Yeah.
I mean, as a taxpayer, I demand bang for my tax taxpayer buck, and we're not getting it.
Yeah.
So it seems, Julia, we've got now a two-tier system of employment in the UK. We're talking a lot about two tiers lately. I don't agree with all of them, but this one I will. This is the Mackinlay two-tier. You're either lucky enough to work in the civil service or in the public sector, or you work in the private sector where things are normal, where productivity is required, where you have to work hard for your pension. But I'm afraid in the civil service, you're massively unionised, and it seems that you can do pretty much as you please.
And the extraordinary thing is, we were told it was so efficient, because if it was so efficient, then every one of our public services would be working brilliantly, and it clearly isn't. But also, why on earth are all these companies, where, especially the tech companies, the Googles and the others, why are they not keeping on with working from home? Why have they said, you know what, we want everyone back in the office now? It's not just about your productivity at that moment, it's about long-term team building, knowledge, passing on knowledge to younger people. I just don't understand. And by the way, people's health, actually, you know, getting off your backside and when you're actually leaving your home, it's good for you.
On a couple of those. I mean, Julie, you may know I'm still a chartered accountant in practice, have been all throughout my days as an MP. So, you know, I'm a part of a team. I'm one of the partners there. And, you know, we had a lot of home working going on during the COVID period. And we found at the end of that year, lo and behold, we were a month behind, because productivity was not quite as it should have been working from home. So we demanded people come back into the office. And do you know what? Especially in knowledge-based industries, which I'm sure a lot of what the civil service does, it is in that sort of field, how much easier for a junior colleague to pop into your office and say, I've got a query on this. It's one and done and solved. So younger workers are getting trained effectively, but you hit on there mental health issues. Do you know what? I could think of nothing worse than being sat at home working all day long on my own. I think it would be enough to drive anybody who, you know, it suffers from loneliness into a pretty poor place. So I would say back in the office is a lot more fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can I just ask you one final story, just this in the news? Brand new £1 billion fleet of passenger trains has been sitting in storage for years. I mean, we are talking for years and years and years here, because South West Railways these Arterio trains to replace 40-year-old former British rail carriages on one of their commuter lines out of London Waterloo to the South West. But basically, the train unions say they don't like them because they object to the size of the windscreen wipers. They say they're so big, they block the driver's view of the trackside signals to tell them when to stop and go. And so they're unhappy with them and they've not been used. So passengers are stuck in these 40-year-old, horrible, filthy, disgusting, mechanical trains instead of these brand spanking new ones, because of not the wrong type of leaves on the line, not the wrong type of snow, but the wrong type of wipers on the windows. How on earth have we got ourselves into such a mess?
I think these Arterio trains have had quite a few problems, actually, in linking up with the electricity supply. They have had a few issues, but yes, one of the issues has been the windscreen wipers that the union don't like. But you don't think you've had the full extent of that story, Julia. They've actually withdrawn their complaints about the windscreen wipers on the back of their 15% pay increase.
Oh, they're suddenly not too big. Very good point.
They're not so bad after all.
There you are. I also might think it's like, how big are they, for goodness sake? Anyway, Craig Mackinlay, so good to talk to you. Lord Mackinlay, of course, Conservative peer. Always so great to get you on the show.